one second.
Go out. Go. All right, this is our group session. And before we start, what I want to do is just go around and do a health check. So, how are you feeling today?
Fine.
Fine. You don't have any low-grade fever?
No.
No cough or anything like that?
Nope.
Because we don't have the social distance.
Okay.
Thanks. So I'll just
no,
make sure
I
you
have
get
no cough.
no scratchy throat.
No.
You feeling good?
Yep.
Okay. How about yourself?
I'm feeling great.
Good.
Yes, I am.
No sore throat.
No sore throat.
No coughing.
No coughing.
All right.
No fever.
No fever. Oh yeah. Did you take
No
it?
fever.
All right. Good. I feel good as well. I do not have a low-grade fever. No cough. No scratchy throat. So we're all good. All right. So that's good. So before we begin, I want everybody to introduce themselves. Give a little bit of background about yourself.
My name's Eleanor. I work in human resources, and I've worked in this field for over 20 years.
Very good.
My name is Jessica. I work in finance, and I've been in that field for about 13 years.
Okay. My name is Terrence. I work for the state public health. I've been there. It's going on like 9 years, 8 or 9 years now. So it's a little bit background. Okay, so before we begin, I just want to go over some house rules. Obviously, we always want to keep what's said in these sessions confidential. So, what we say here today, let's just keep it among ourselves. Also, there'll be, when we're interacting, be respectful to other members' perspectives. Be present, be here now. We'll have one speaker at a time. And, speak your truth without judgment. So, whatever is true to you, don't be afraid to share that with the group because there'll be no judgment. So don't feel like you'll be persecuted or judged based upon, your beliefs or your values or your perspective. Okay? So
Okay.
Those are some of the house rules. All right. So this session that we're having, a group session, is going to be about empowerment. So just, throughout our lives, we have challenging situations where we may feel it's hopeless, and we need to draw from our inner strength to, empower ourselves to deal with that situation. And a lot of times people don't know how to tap into that inner strength, or they don't even know they possess that inner strength to empower themselves. And depending on their social determinants, it will, some people feel that they're not empowered to do anything and they're just hopeless. And so we want to talk about that a little bit today. So a definition of empowerment is the ability to act, control social determinants that make an individual stronger, confident, and self-assured. And basically, again, we're going to talk about the strength perspective. So has there been any situation where you were empowered or you felt hopeless and you use your inner strength to empower yourself in that situation?
I can think of maybe, a few instances, but one in particular. I was in a group, and a lot of the individuals that are in this particular department had a lot of strengths, and I often felt as if I didn't have as many strengths as they did. A lot of them knew things about data, and they were very prolific in terms of how they did all the computer stuff. And I was the older person in the group, and so I didn't feel as confident. And there was a situation where one of the main individuals was out for a period of time, and there was an aspect of her responsibilities that had to deal with customers. I've always felt pretty comfortable with dealing with customers, but I didn't feel as if I could do that. I could, come up to the level that she was in terms of dealing with the individuals that came in the office and had problems. And so there was a person who came in and had a complaint, and there was no one there that particular day but me, and so I had to deal with a person. And I was very fearful initially because I didn't think I could do it. But I knew that I was the only person, and so I was going to have to do it. And so what I did was I pushed the person, and I tried to put myself in their shoes, and I approached them like I would want someone to approach me.
Mm-hmm.
And to make a long story short, what happened was that I was able to resolve that person's issue and their complaint. And later, that person sent me an email and copied the individual that was out and said that they were very pleased at how I'd helped them. And so from that point on, I felt a lot more confident in my abilities to deal with conflict situations and people with complaints and customers that were coming to our department. So that's my example.
Mm-hmm. So what I'm hearing from that example is that essentially what you did was actually you looked at the perspective from the person that was coming into a complaint and tackled it from their perspective and put yourself in their shoes and see how would you feel about that and approach it that way.
Mm-hmm.
Is that correct?
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of times that's very effective because everyone has their own perspective, and when you can see someone else's perspective and not just have your perspective, then it kind of put things it opens up for better communication, and you can actually resolve things, and there'll be less miscommunication when you understand some other person's point of view. So very nice, very good.
I guess I could say that for me, I had to draw a lot from inner strength with during times when I competed athletically in track and field.
Where'd you compete?
At Delaware State University.
Interesting.
And there was just a lot of times where that your team members are actually counting on you to come through for certain events or whatever the case may be. And there were times when I've actually gotten hurt, but knowing that my team need the points or whatever we had to deal with, it was just that I had to pull from just being determined that I was going to finish and get finished and follow through and getting the event completed to get my team the points. So just always trying to dig in to finish up, knowing that my teammates depended on me.
Good. And that's and if I'm hearing you correctly, that's like that's empowerment from the understanding of working with a group and having other people's rely on you. So it's like a team. So it's a group, and having that dynamic, whereas people are depending on you, and so you're like rising up to the occasion regardless of your what's happening with you, whether you're hurt or what's happening with you. You just have to rise to the occasion because there's people depending on you within that group. So am I hearing you correctly in that?
Yes.
Okay, yeah, that's like a family. Everyone has a role, or people play specific roles in the family, all collectively for the family. So a team is that way. So you knew you had a role to play regardless, and you just pushed through the pain.
Yes.
So you're a soldier. Okay, very good. So those are great examples. But I do have some examples in front of you, right? So this is part of our activity. So on this activity, I want you to look at these images and these captions, and I'll read it, and I want you to give I want you to actually, well, let me read it first, and then we'll do it. So there's a child here. I don't know if I can show it to you. There's a child there. Looks like he's struggling. So the caption reads, "I do well in all my other subjects. I just don't understand math. I'm so stupid." So what kind of suggestion would you give to this child?
Well, I guess what I'd suggest, well, first of all, I would tell them that they're not stupid. And if they do well in all of their other subjects, I guess I would ask them to try and use some of the same, I don't know, techniques or methods that they use in those subjects to try it and better understand math. In addition to that, they might seek out some help from there. It might be other people in the class that are doing well in math, and maybe those persons could assist them.
And that's a powering suggestion. It's for him to go ahead and tap into those skills and techniques that help him with his other subjects that have made him successful in those subjects. If he can tap into that, that's empowering him to then go ahead and apply those techniques and towards his math, and perhaps that could help him. So those suggestions are empowering him to do better in his subject. So that's absolutely perfect. That's a good suggestion for him. Now, for you, it's that same caption, that same child, and that same caption. How would you reframe that for him?
I guess I would say to him that obviously he's not stupid, because he does well in all of his other subjects, which reflects that he's smart and intelligent, and perhaps math is just challenging to him. So he's not stupid, and math is just challenging to him.
That's good. Right, because it's obvious if he's doing well in all the other subjects, just as math is just one subject that's challenging to him. And so he'll just need a little bit more attention, pay a little bit more attention to that. So that's very good. Perfect. Thank you. We can flip over to the next sheet. So there's a second one with a lady, young teenage girl. Here, I'll show this picture too. So this young girl, people are pointing fingers at her. Seems like she's in school maybe. All right. And Jessica, you can read that caption for me, please?
People make fun of me because I'm weird and ugly. I have no friends.
Now, what suggestion would you give her?
I would probably suggest that perhaps she encourage her to maybe look at people that are more like her. And those are the people that may be able to become her friends, and not to worry about all the other people who consider her to be weird or ugly or whatever it may be. That just find people that she's more like with.
Yeah, has that ever been your experience where you were on the outside and people looked at you differently?
Yes. Yeah, I mean, yes, everybody has their group of individuals that they fit with. And that might just not have been her fit. So,
okay, good.
Not everybody's going to like you.
All right, Eleanor. How would you reframe that for her?
So now, what is reframe?
Okay, so reframe is, you want to reframe the picture, or not the picture, or the statement to a positive. Obviously, that's a negative statement. So how would you reframe it to show her strengths that would empower her?
Oh, I see. Okay. All right. I think she's focusing on. She's saying because she's weird and ugly. Well, first of all, I have to let her know she's not weird, and she's not ugly. People might make fun of her just because she's different. Maybe she's creative, or she is not like them. But that doesn't make her weird, and obviously she's not ugly, and so I would just say you're creative, and so you have to find a way to use your creativity, and in doing that, and in being maybe who you are, you will find individuals that are like you, and those individuals. You will have something in common with, and those can be your friends. And these people are not your friends anyway.
Yeah, it's something similar to what Jessica said, is finding people who are like-minded, and or people your group in which you can you can relate to. So I've experienced that throughout my life, where I may be the outsider and felt, isolated and maybe even perceived people were making fun of me or didn't like me or didn't want to, be involved with me. But what I've done is, find those people who are more like me or into the things that I was into, and that empowered me, and I was able to change my thought about myself. So that tells me my time is up. That was a very go ahead, fix that. That was a very quick session.
You can't cut out some and add something?
Oh, yeah.
No, we're still having it. We're still having a session right now. So we haven't concluded, but that's okay. That's going in. So I just wanted to conclude. I want to thank everybody for that. You guys had some great suggestions and reframing. So moving forward, with the things that from this little exercise that we did, and just reflecting on the past of some of your situations where you were empowered. Moving forward, do you think that you could use what strengths would you use to empower yourself to get over a challenge? I know, Eleanor, you had mentioned that sometimes at work you have to deal with you might have to take on different responsibilities that are outside of your scope. What would you do to empower yourself to go ahead and deal with that?
I think it's the first, just having the confidence, believing that that you can do it, and just trying it, just doing it.
That's half the battle. Starting and doing it.
Yes,
that's good. And how about yourself?
I think just staying determined and motivated. To know that you can do whatever you want to. If you put your mind to it, then you could, conquer anything else mentally.
Sounds good. Well, I want to thank you both for participating in this group session today. I appreciate your time. I know you everybody's real busy and everyone's trying to keep the social distancing, but I appreciate you doing this for me today. So that concludes our group session, and I want you guys to have a wonderful day.
All right. Thank you.
All right. Thank you.